Can Optimism or OP coin make new heights soon? I think there's a very good chance of that happening, and I'm going to tell you guys my reasons why. Now, this is a request done by one of my viewers. He wants to see a update on Optimism. If you guys have any requests, make sure to drop it in the comment section below. But of course, drop it with a like and subscribe. So I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. Now, this is Optimism. Okay, I've talked about this a little bit of time ago. What is going on with OP here? So I talked about this is the weekly time frame for Optimism, and this is a falling wedge pattern. Why you should be paying attention to falling wedge patterns is because they're probably the most common pattern you guys will see. If you guys are starting charting these charts, just try to chart these charts because it's going to be very important. You're going to start seeing more things rather than when you just don't chart at all, right? Because when you start trying, you will get into the reflex of just seeing the patterns on these charts, right? And that's going to be very useful, especially when we get to the height of this bull cycle. I still think we're really early in this bull cycle based on the monthly RSI reading for Bitcoin comparing to previous bull cycles. I did a more detailed video on Bitcoin earlier today. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin because that could really wreck your trades. I'm going to link you guys to my Bitcoin video at the end of this video. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. So my opinions on this market is bullish. But like the entirety of this video, these are just my opinions and not financial advice. You guys form your own opinions and strategies. Now, this is the weekly time frame. Coming back to Optimism here. And I talked about a falling wedge pattern that looks like it actually tried to creep out of this pattern here. Now, price targets for this breakout would be $4.30 adjusted for that actual breakout point. Optimism has quite a bit of resistance along this way, including one key one here is going to be your weekly 50 SMA at about $1.10. The white line here, that's going to be your next key resistance on this time frame. Okay. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. Very much depends on what happens with Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin starts dumping, these altcoin setups are not going to matter very much. Especially if Bitcoin goes on an extensive downtrend. Okay. Now, let's take a look into the lower time frames because I think that's what you would be interested in. For an update, I talked about a double bottom scenario here last time, right? That did not break through. Okay, so you just gotta know that these patterns, they'll give you an edge on this market in terms of probabilities if you read them. Of course, they're not going to be 100%. Okay, nothing in life is 100% except for maybe just a few things. Okay, but this is definitely not one of them. And basically, so this double bottom pattern got invalidated. I'm going to take away these trend lines here, and what could Optimism be doing right now? So when double bottoms break down, they could sometimes form falling wedges as well. So I think I'm looking at something like this, okay? A falling wedge pattern that has actually broke to the upside, but there is divergence here that's playing out. Divergence is basically when you get a higher or equal high on the price action chart, but you get an equal or a lower high on the RSI. That usually tells you there's going to be a pullback, and that's playing out right now. Okay, so extend this out, right, for this falling wedge, and go ahead and measure the opening of the pattern for the measure move based on this breakout point, and that will give a measure target for this breakout for the smaller falling wedge to be about almost 95 cents. This breakout is still valid, okay, and it looks like there was a rising wedge here, okay. That's probably something like this. on a lower time frame, and something like this, right? That is also a pattern you should definitely be paying attention to because it tells you that there's going to be a breakdown. Couple that with the RSI, that becomes more likely, okay? And this breakdown target for OP would be about 66 cents, okay? So it hasn't, I mean, it's basically almost there. So let's see if it continues breaking down. But this breakout here out of this bigger falling wedge pattern is still valid. And of course, out of that big falling wedge pattern on the weekly time frame is still valid because the price action is still above the upper trend lines of those patterns. So this is basically what I'm seeing for Optimism. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of OP by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one, or any other coins in this market as well. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. I'll see you on the next one.